and achieve our collective goals, which is a manifestation. This launching is actually a manifestation of what FEGAMI set out to do. We have different organizations that have partnered with us, and the outcome, as we can all bear witness, is laudable. Dear youths, we have a nation to build, and together we can achieve all we desire. Unity is strength, so let us unite for our common goal. We have been organizing annual Senegambia international conferences with our counterparts from Senegal. Just has been partners with us since 2006. Now this has been hindered by the COVID-19 pandemic, unfortunately, but we still continue to attend each other's activities where possible. We want to assure them that the coming of FEGAMI will further strengthen our existing relationship. We are one people with the same mission, and we are so grateful for the gift. Barakallahu fikum. Finally, I will not do justice if I fail to thank all our partners, particularly the Gambia Supreme Islamic Council, GAMFEM, Fi Sabilillah Muslim Association, Concerned Citizens, Sadaqatul Jariyah Association, Iqra Quranic Foundation, Al-Falah Islamic Radio, and we also thank all the individuals for their immense contributions. Special appreciation to the founders of FIGAMSO and AGAMI in our midst. We are very grateful to Mr. Mohammed Lamin Sana, Principal of Kotu Senior, Mr. Babukar Ojuf, who is the General Manager of the Gambia Teachers Union Corporate Credit Union. We are also grateful to Ustaz Yahya Jallo of Fatima Senior School, Mr. Mohammed Lamin Jaju of the SIS, Sheikh Duduja, former president of AGAMI, Sheikh Omar Ebojan, who served as both president of FIGAMSO and FIGAMI, Auntie Amindur, who is a head teacher at the Muhammad Yadali English and Arabic School. To all the brothers and sisters, we are all grateful to you. We cannot thank you enough for your unshakable partnership. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you all abundantly. I would like to close the statement with a statement by the educationist Mary Makliyon Bethune, who says, we have a powerful potential in our youths, and we must have the courage to change all ideas and practices so that we may direct their power towards good ends. With this, I would like to say, Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik, la ilaha illa anta, nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk, wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
That was Basamba Seka, Deputy President for the FEGAMI.
Without wasting much time, inshallah, I would like to introduce, invite a member of the Sports, Arts and Culture Committee of the Federation of Gambia Muslim Youth, our brother, Lamin Cham, to deliver a short poem before the minister would preside over the launching statement of this inauguration. Lamin, Bismillah. Using the podium.
The minister will do the launching statement. Parliament is a member of FEGAMI who will entertain the public for the meantime. And he is one of the youngsters who is part of the Social and Arts Committee of FEGAMI.
To you all. Oh, it is sad that the world we are living in right now, mankind only have interest on membership. Membership to get ownership in a mentorship, professorship, musicianship, citizenship, friendship, to go buy sheep, slaughter sheep and eat sheep, but they never think of their creator's lordship. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Once again, I greet you all. I don't know, from the beginning to the last person, because I cannot really actually mention their, I don't know, their names. So, secondly, I will like to present a poem entitled FEGAMSO Agami FEGAMI. Yes, they gave me the title, that is to say, they were youths who believe in their Lord and they were guided in, added in guidance. But I came up with mine. I was so stubborn to come up with my own title. Yeah, you just forgive me for that. All right, so inshallah we start. fegam so ni mu neexe agami ni mu neexe ñaari boko boole suru mu lebe jolle fegami ñu leen dalal fegami ñu lay sargal fegami ñu lay welcome in the best of ways. Relating to you the stories of the youth who forsake not their faith, coming together as a union by heart, not falling apart but extremely smart, the promises they got with lion heart. These are youths of consistency, having the best priority in their scale of preference for their country, creating awareness within their various ambience, giving chance to all, not being selective for the fact that they embrace everyone, even those in their childhood. Within them, it is built the bond of brotherhood. It was corrected the issue of falsehood, but totally establishing righteousness between them for everyone to reach priesthood. So all forms of readiness was found in this adorable hood. Education was prioritized. Dawah was strategized. Didactics were scrutinized. Suggestions were idealized. The meritorious were recognized. The notorious were sanitized. They were organized, humanized, harmonized, and above all, they utilized their brains towards the service of their creator wise. And at times, it is so funny, they wear neckties, shoe ties, hair ties, and waist ties just to make Fegamsu and Agami nice. Nyun simfa walentol konofa. Kambulu tulu dani nyafa fosaindu mtatula noje muku fosaya. I could remember the smooth, sweet gesture when I first attended the National Youth Camp. I could remember when Sheikh Hamad Jaita gave lectures on religious tolerance. When Sheikh Jam gave lectures on the insignificance of youth in our society. When Sheikh Omar Bojang mentored us on the story of Salman al-Farisi for us to enjoy more about it. MashaAllah. I could remember when Mahmoud Sabali lectures on self-esteem. When we were trained by first aiders, when we were told to be obedient to our leaders, when we were ought to be knowledge seekers, when we were inspired with youth bantabas, when we had peace seminars during the 3 years Jotna strike. I could remember when we were advised to be loyal to our state, kind to parents, giving helping arms to neighbors and widows, holding tight onto the sunnah of the beloved one, when masjids were cleansed, when iftars were served, and it will surely be served today as well. Lirek fes na suñuy biir te nag am nañ ci xol bu dal doy na képp ku baax te di ko oote doy na ki am xol bu law ndaxte Fegamsu ak Agami yoon bu jub leen rëdd duma nangu mukk may mboote si seen yëngu-yëngu den gaay dañu juboo nekk benn xooluñ si xeet wala melokaan moo tax ñépp bëgg leen. So the amalgamation of these two is nothing but ease, peace, strength, the ability and capability to do more in the subsequent years to come. Nsi ala danif fasa lafa al sayirwa ndax Fegami dem si kaw ca kanam kon nag nasaf saf. Thank you all.
Who is a member of the Federation of Gambia Muslim Youth, who actually was there to entertain, and you have seen the poems.
You were stubborn, but I guess your head of committee, Abubakar, will deal with you later. I would not do justice without thanking sincerely our partners, As you can see, some of them, we have their logos here. The Gambia Supreme Islamic Council, Concerned Citizens, FEGAMI. GAMFEM, that is the Great Ambitious Muslims. We have Sadaqatul Jariyah, we have Fi Sabilillah Muslim Association. We also have Movement Just from Senegal. We have Iqra Quranic Foundation and Al Falah. I would like also to thank iAfrica for being with us. They're broadcasting the event live. Without wasting much of time, I would like to introduce the Honorable Minister, Honorable Bakari Baji, to deliver the launching statement. Honorable, Bismillah.
Normally a youth activist, actually, who will be very proud to preside over the launching of such a convergence of youth in this country. And then there he starts his speech.
All praises due to Allah the Almighty. Peace and blessings be upon the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his companion, his family, and all those who strive to follow his footsteps until the day of resurrection. Mr. Chairman, the President of the Supreme Islamic Council, representative of the National Youth Council, the representative of Just Movement from Senegal and his delegation, the religious leaders that are present here, and of course, all of the protocols respectfully observed, and as well as to the executive members of the FEGAMI, all other organizations. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. I am deeply honored to be invited to this auspicious occasion in this blessed month of Ramadan to give the launching statement of the newly amalgamated FEGAMI. Youths have the lion's share of the nation's population and a fulcrum of its natural resources. Hence, the government, through the Ministry of Youth and Sports, attaches great concern and importance to their welfare as key driving force for peace and sustainable development. The amalgamation of these two great youth organizations, Federation of Gambian Muslim Students Organization, otherwise called FEGAMOS, and the Assembly of Gambian Muslim Youth, or AGAMI, for a common objective is indeed laudable and historic. The two organizations were household names in the country and have contributed immensely to uplifting morality and academic excellence for many youths in this country for many decades. The reality has been manifested among the membership in different conspicuous walks of life. I must applaud you for putting aside your individual interests and create one entity that represents the common interests that all of you have. This is usually a very difficult action and sometimes impossible, especially in this part of the world where interests supersede the common goal. I hope the amalgamation would add value and substance to your previous achievements, as unity is strength, and the reality of the world today requires such. FEGAMI, without an iota of doubt, has what it takes to contribute its quota towards the development of this country. I say this because its membership comprises different expertise and professionals, flanked with high sense of morality. The government is committed to youth welfare by providing the enabling environment in the provisions of relevant, affordable, and access to education, which requires skills acquisition for sustainable development. This can only be maintained through peace, which I believe will be a cornerstone in the activities and advocacy of FEGAMI moving forward. The Gambia, as a multi-faith society, requires high sense of tolerance. Therefore, I humbly urge FEGAMI to continue exercising religious tolerance and peaceful coexistence, which apparently advocated and practiced by the two amalgamated organizations. I believe you will continue the same spirit after today's launching. As a national organization, I urge you to formally register under the National Youth Council, which is the government body responsible for registration of all youth organizations without consideration of their background. The National Youth Council is established by an act of assembly, and its responsibility includes to oversee all youth organizations that are operating in the Gambia. Aside from the registration, it will enable you as an organization to benefit from the projects that the government, through the Youth Council, implements. This will also help you in our collaborations with the government through the Ministry of Youth and Sports. Us at the ministry perceives you as a close, relevant, and reliable partner in youth matters and national development. The formation of FEGAMI will help in serving as an umbrella body for Muslim youth organizations in the Gambia. This is significant in positively shaping the holistic direction of the Muslim youth for greater good. With this brief statement, I have the pleasure and honor to declare the Federation of Gambian Muslim Youth, FEGAMI, officially launched today, the 1st May, 2021, or otherwise Ramadan, the 19th day of Ramadan. I wish you all the best. Thank you so much for the invitation, and I hope, like I said earlier, that you would be able to come closer so that us and you can work towards uplifting the lives of our young people. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Honorable Minister Bakari Baji has just formalized the launching of FEGAMI.
Inshallah, we would reiterate our commitment towards working with you, with your ministry, through the National Youth Council, and we will take heed of your recommendation and advice. I would like to apologize to our Sheikh for stealing a couple of minutes from his precious time. Next is his lecture on the theme, verse 13 of Surah Al-Kahf. إنهم فدية آمنوا بربهم وزدناهم هدى. And it reads in English, there were youths who believed in their Lord and we increased them in khair. Inshallah, we would acknowledge the presence of our mom, Ajah Jain Ababok, with her delegation as well, inshallah. Without wasting much time, I would hand over the microphones to our Sheikh Hamma Jaite to deliver his lecture on the theme, inshallah. Sheikh.
Is the guest speaker to this event, the launching of FEGAMI, Federation of Gambia Muslim Youth. So he will deliver the lecture that is going to talk on youth purposely.
أشرف المرسلين محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله وصحابته أجمعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. First and foremost, I must extend my gratitude by extending thanks to His Honorable the Minister of Youth and Sports, Mr. Baji, to His Excellency the President of the Gambia Supreme Islamic Council, Sir Issa Dabo, and to the President of Movement Just of Senegal, Mr. Drame, and to everybody in attendance here, whose presence here carries a big significance in establishing a very, very, very important historical development in our continuous struggle to make Islam and the Muslim more progressive in their unified movement towards achieving the assigned, defined, definite goals that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has set us on when He declared in the Holy Quran, وَإِذْ قَالَ رَبُّكَ لِلْمَلَائِكَ إِنِّي جَائِلٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ خَلِيفَةً. And each of us is a Khalifa in his own right, by virtue of being the son or daughter of Adam alayhi salam. So tomorrow Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not going to ask Adam vicariously, why did your sons and daughters did that? You are going to be responsible alone before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Well, I thank the new organization, a new baby is born. I usually say whenever I am invited to deliver any topic or any lectures on anything that is organized by any organization in the Gambia, I used to say that organizations they died in the Gambia before they are born. Because usually they are a reactive organization. Something happens and the members reacted and tried to put in a structure that has not been properly studied, and that was not internalized, and that was not part of their very personality as Muslims. But as for Fegamso, Agami, I've been a contemporary of this august, powerful, all-pervasive organization. Almost I could even remember, if my memory is not betraying me, for more than 19 to 18 years. And it has all the time been intact, powerful, innovative, progressive, and is always constructive in everything that it does. May Allah help us for them to establish themselves in this new union. The theme I am giving, that is, إِنَّهُمْ فِتْيَةٌ آمِنُوا بِرَبِّكُمْ وَزِدْنَاهُمْ إِيمَانًا. This verse actually is extracted from a chapter called Surah Al-Kahf. Before I go deeper into the topic, I want to agitate your mathematical and arithmetical curiosity about the Quran concerning this verse and the chapter. Jannimbe dunna kadiya mubake because modo le konsenkanya me manninga kaunin surah kaun. I want to agitate your mathematical and arithmetical curiosity about the Quran by selecting this very important chapter and just deriving a single verse out of it. If it had been yesterday, which was the 18th of Ramadan, a big miracle would have been demonstrated here in your presence here. But today is on the 19th. But 19th is 18th, it's yet to come. 19th is not yet completed. You know, Surah Al-Kahf is composed of 110 verses. And it is the 18th chapter of the Holy Quran. And this chapter, the central message of this chapter is the essence of time. Based on that confirmed conviction in the unity of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His encompassing power in controlling events. I want you to give me your ears because we want to just throw a hydrogen bomb concerning this very chapter of the Holy Quran. You see, this is the 18th chapter of the Holy Quran. It is composed of 110 verses. And the word cave, the sleepers of the cave, Kahf, is mentioned in this chapter 6 times. And whenever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is divining time in creation, He used 6. خَلَقَ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضَ فِي سِتَّةِ أَيَّامٍ. By just using these 6, because the word Kahf, which means cave, because the name of the chapter is Surah Al-Kahf. And Kahf is mentioned in this chapter 6 times. And time is mentioned in the Quran based on realities on 6 different occasions. And that 6, if you should use 6 and divide it into 110, is going to give you 18, exactly the number and the number of the chapter in the Holy Quran. A mathematical miracle. A big mathematical miracle for that matter. Yeah, but using a verse as a theme is invalid as long as it is not connected to the prior and to the past, to the verse that are preceding or coming after it. Who were the youths? And what was the message? And what was the essence of their message? These were youths It has no relation with history, a specific geographical relation. It has a meaning that is universal in application. It is divinely revealed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But in this very chapter, from verse number 9 to verse number 27 of Surah Al-Kahf, if all the youth in the Gambia, particularly, especially, and as an assignment primarily, for Fegami to do it, read from verse number 9 to 27. Any program of success you want to embark on, if you apply the principles in these verses, there is no doubt that the end results of your endeavors will be successful. You know why? Because these were youths. These were youths. What is a youth? To be a youth doesn't mean that you have a special age. No. It is the ability of your mind to produce what is good for the community and for yourself. This is what is called a youth. These were youths. They rebelled against a system, an oppressive system that was just espousing, fostering, and forcing people to adopt it by force against their will. That is the power to use against people, against the fitrah. Allah says subhanahu wa ta'ala, فَأَقِمْ وَجْهَكَ لِلدِّينِ حَنِيفًا فِطْرَةَ اللَّهِ الَّتِي فَطَرَ النَّاسَ عَلَيْهَا لَا تَبْدِيلَ لِخَلْقِ اللَّهِ. I'm not expanding, but I'm trying to squeeze in so many things so that it can be of benefit to you. These are youths. They rebel against a system. What system is that? It is called the system of divisive multiplicity of Godhead. Listen to this word or this statement. They rebel against what is called the multiplicity of Godhead that society actually subscribed to when they were in existence then. That's why it is a story that if all the youth abide strictly by its teaching, the Muslims will be on the safer side of history. إِنَّهُ فِتْيَةٌ آمَنُوا بِرَبِّهِمْ. They were not more than 10, and they were not less than 9, so they were in between. The figure is not important, but their attitude, their way of doing things, their confirmed belief, and their belief in the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and their standing against injustice and the multiplicity of Godhead is what is important, is what we should try to emulate and put it in our lives. But in Surah Al-Kahf as well for the youths, number 1, these were youths and they have a confirmed belief in their Creator, that is Allah. And they asked Allah, they sought refuge in Allah's power, and Allah responded to them, and revelation came to them that they should go and found and refuge in a mountain. And they went there. Look at it. Look at the sequence of events in their life. These were youths, they sought Allah's intervention in their life because they never want division in creation. They never want division in their attitude towards the Creator, who is Allah. So anywhere there is division, it is divisive attitude. Anywhere there is that inclination of division, it is reprehensible in Islam. So this youth, their position is Amanu bi-rabbikum. That's why wherever youths are united in faith and they are struggling to achieve a unified purpose, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is always intervening in their life, and it is leading them where they are going to get refuge and where they are going to escape with the righteous path that they have chosen for themselves. These are youth. They believe in Allah. So Fegami, you should believe in Allah. You are a believer, but increase your belief, because Allah says, وَزِدْنَاهُمْ إِيمَانًا وَرَبَطْنَا عَلَىٰ قُلُوبِهِمْ. But what did they do? They stood up against injustice and announced it and declared it stoically without any fear. So as a youth Fegami, the Quran is advising you to do likewise. Stand in front of injustice. Stand in front of evil. Use your power as a unified body. Use your individual wisdom and understanding and knowledge. Stand in the face of evil and try to eliminate evil. This is why the Quran says, as a historical mission for all the Muslim youths, وَلْتَكُنْ مِنْكُمْ أُمَّةٌ يَدْعُونَ إِلَى الْخَيْرِ وَيَأْمُرُونَ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَيَنْحَوْنَ عَنِ الْمُنْكَرِ وَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ. I mean, this is not about authority or presidents or you name them, the alcalos or the cadis. It is about you, the youth, because Islam originally relies on the youth. So this is why Surah Al-Kahf, this verse you quoted, actually here, these youth, they stood in the face of divisiveness. They stood in the face of injustice. They used in the face of tyranny. They used in the face of ignorance. And they built that strong, power, which actually catapulted them and elevated their spiritual sophistication by the intervention of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. With all the scientific, miraculous realities that attended their entry into the cave. But we are not here for that. But I want to just reiterate one very important point. You quoted this verse, Surah Al-Kahf, concerning the youth, the sleepers of the cave. But you know that in the same chapter, there are 4 different stories mentioned. From the youth of the cave, the sleepers of the cave, right into Moses when he was seeking more knowledge, right into the simile of the person who is given a garden and the other one was not given, and the story of who is called Zulqarnain. All these 4 stories are connected. You cannot just rely on the sleepers of the cave for you to understand the verse you have quoted. You have to go, it is a thread that is just crossing all the stories and it is binding them together. If you don't connect them, you disconnect them. And if you disconnect them, you will not get anything out of it. These are youths. That's why in the same context, the same youths, when Allah empowered them and gave them refuge, they slept for 300 years in the solar calendar. 309 years in the lunar calendar were converted. But when they were woken by Allah's power, look what actually happened. One of them said, okay, give money to one of our members to go to the market to find something, food for us to, keep ourselves, as a sustenance. So this tells you as a youth, to work, try to build capital is something which is important. This verse is telling you that even the people sleeping for 300 years, after they have been restored into, awakeness and consciousness, these people are conscious that it's a duty that money must be with them for them to sustain themselves. As a youth, Fegami, I beg you, go into economic, financial activities so that you can build your base. Without an economic base, whatever you are doing theoretically can never bring any fruits. It's derived from the same context. And as a youth organization, I beseech you today. My learned brother Drame said it. The world is in a state of war. And this war is not by guns or by bullets or by missiles. It is by ideas and ideologies. The Freemason is increasingly becoming so powerful. The Freemason is in your mobile, in your mosque, in your center, in your headquarters. The Freemason is everywhere. You may entertain the false impression that you are liberated, but you are not liberated. Because the Freemason is controlling you. Because he is the only anti-value. The system of the Freemason is anything that is valuable, morally, spiritually, socially, politically, economically. For the position of the Freemason is to eliminate and destroy the existence, the concept of Allah in the minds of the youth. So how are you going to go about it? What is your defense mechanism? Your defense mechanism is to go back to the Holy Quran. Surah Al-Kahf is your mechanism. This is why in the same episode of the sleepers of the cave, when they woke up, they started asking themselves, how long were they sleeping? How long were they sleeping? Never ask yourself, how long have I been in existence as an organization? But try to ask yourself and evaluate how much have you achieved as an organization. Do that. Because these people, when they ask each other, Kam labistum? Some of them say, labisna yawman aw ba'da yawm. But they realize that it is useless, it is frivolous to ask about time, because the whole chapter is about the essence of time. It's about the essence of time. وَلْتَنْظُرُ نَفْسٌ مَا قَدَّمَتْ لِغَدٍ. Time is our problem. Without controlling time, we cannot be people. This is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He created us and brought us in this world, you know why we die? You know why we expire? You know why we are given certain time that we should live on this earth and we die? Because Allah is in control of time. But we human beings are in control of space. Only Allah is in control of time. So I'm talking about time. These people actually, they don't want to waste their time on these frivolous arguments and controversies, as we are witnessing in the Islamic community, especially among the youth, or the misinformed, or uninformed, or disinformed youths. It's a problem. They don't waste their time on that. This is why immediately after that chapter, that verse, look what the Quran is saying. سَيَقُولُونَ ثَلَاثَةٌ وَرَابِئُهُمْ كَلْبُهُمْ وَيَقُولُونَ سَبْعَةٌ وَثَامِنُهُمْ كَذَا يَقُولُونَ Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says رَجَمًا بِالْغَيْبِ. They are just conjecturing. It is not true. What is essential is factual knowledge. Factual knowledge. As a youth organization, make sure that you build that database of knowledge. Without knowledge, don't fool yourself. You will never progress. And what is knowledge? Knowledge is how much you read, or what university you went to, or what degree you were able to achieve. It's not that. Knowledge is the little you know, you apply it behaviorally in your conduct, and it is manifested, demonstrated, and people know that this person is knowledgeable. That is knowledge. Do away with that colonial shackles of degrees, PhDs and masters. I'm not disrespecting them. They are an achievement. But I want you people to understand that. To be a practical person. To be a knowledgeable person is to do the will of Allah. To be a knowledgeable person is to do it according to the principles laid down by Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So what is knowledge? Knowledge is simply good conduct. Knowledge is simply truth. Knowledge is simply something that is established invariably. It never changes. So when we say factual knowledge, these youths were empowered with wisdom and factual knowledge. So in fact, I said the threat stretch Moses for the youth to learn. As a youth, make sure that you continue learning as much as you can. Make sure that you keep researching, exploring. You try to explore uncharted territory. It is time we stop what we call imitation. Intellectual imitation is an intellectual crime. To be intellectually imitating others in every small or big thing, you are committing an intellectual plagiarizing crime. It's time you innovate. It's time you go into the unknown. Try to exploit the unknown. Try to bring in something new. Somebody would say, no, how can we do it? Bigger minds are there. The Tobago is there. The Indian is there. The Chinese is there. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, all of us are descendants of Adam, and Adam was taught and given the power, the values, and the qualities, the capabilities, the abilities to know everything. As long as you are a descendant of Adam, you are entitled to know what you want to know. So knowledge is the most important empowerment tool that we can have. So Moses alayhi salam, Moses was searching for knowledge. Because of the constraint of time, I'm jumping from one episode to another episode, 4 episodes, but all of them carried big wisdoms. Everybody must understand that. As a youth organization, make sure that you explore the unknown. Moses went into the unknown. Because Moses said he was prepared to go for even 100 years in order to achieve the wisdom that he went after. And actually he did it. And as a youth organization, make sure that you are critical and analytical. When Moses was introduced to his master, Moses didn't blindly accept the instruction of his master like that. There were 2 values at play, the world value and the supernatural value. Actually, Moses told him, when they embark on their journey, the first thing the master did was to destroy. It is permissible, sometimes conditional, for the means to justify the end. Because there was a tyrannical king. Any good ship is impounded by him. But what happened here? Moses' teacher actually, impaired the ship so that it can escape the empowerment of this man. But it's conditional on what? When we say the means justifies the end, it's conditional on your knowing that this will be the consequences of your act. Otherwise, don't do it. Number two, they went further and the master killed an innocent soul. And Moses protested, using the word value. That's why there are always a conflict between two values. Islam's values are the highest idealistic values. So whenever they come into confrontation with any value, there is bound to be a collusion. And that collusion is going to create some sort of, a problem in your mind and in the mind of the community. Look what Moses did. Moses protested. But this is why it's good to destroy and eliminate evil when it started growing. As a youthful organization, never just, give a blind eye to anything that is evil. Stand as an organization, a united front, and try to eliminate all the sources, all the potential sources of evil in the community. If you don't do, you are not doing your functions, and it is a historical mission. You are assigned to do it by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the third station is, with his master, they went to a town, they sought for somebody to just provide the provisions and housing residence for them, a host. They refused. But look what Moses and his sons did. The instructor, instead, there was a wall that was almost on the verge of collapsing. His teacher had to go and rebuild to maintain that wall. You know why? This is telling you as a youthful organization, as a youth, go into voluntary activities in your life. Go into voluntary activities in your life, regardless of a benefit or no benefit. Go into voluntary activity. Because out of that voluntary action, you are going to get the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because Musa alayhi salam, when he left, escaped Egypt to go to Midian, because he killed somebody there. When he went to Midian, he voluntarily drew water for the two ladies there. And out of that voluntary service, he was given a wife. And out of that voluntary service, the appointment with Allah came into being, and he was commissioned as the greatest prophet in Israel, sent to overthrow the most tyrannical system in the world, that is the system of faith. It's not a politics, it is spiritual and it is religion. And the third portion that we are going to stop, inshallah, is Zulqarnain, for the youth to learn. Who was Zulqarnain? As a youthful organization, you are given everything that you need. You are given numerical numbers. You are given intellectual backgrounds or intellectual basis or foundation. And you are now recognized formally by the Gambian government and the Supreme Islamic Council. So all the things that you need as a paraphernalia, as a tool for moving forward is at your disposal. So what should you do? Use all the means available for you to achieve your end. Zulqarnain, when he went, I know within your program, there is something called arbitration and reconciliation. In the programs of Fagami, I know that. There is reconciliation, and there is arbitration, and there is that mutual bringing together of people who are at loggerheads. So for that matter, look at Zulqarnain. You should learn from that episode as well. Zulqarnain was a very powerful king, or a good man for that matter. But Allah has provided him with all the means necessary. But what happened? He followed the means. This is why, if you have your means, but you don't know your means, or you don't recognize them, or nobody told you about your means, you are always backward. The secret of our backwardness as Gambians and generally as Africans lies in the secret. We have everything that Allah has given to mankind. We are bestowed and endowed with everything, and greater than even the Chinese. What was given to the Chinese? But our problem is in our inability to discover the potentials, to discover the means, to discover what is given to us. And the least of all, we don't even recognize that we've been gifted. Zulqarnain used the means. He went to a location, well, we call it the southern or the eastern location,
where the sun, when it falls down, because this is the literal language for a layman, when the sun falls down, when the sun sets, it sets, to the observer as it is setting in a water. He found a population there. That population, this is why we have 3 different people in every community. People who are literal people staying beside the water, people who are in desert where there are no trees, and people who are living in mountainous areas. As an organization, you must know the psychology of each. The psychology of the people in Congo is different from the psychology of people in Fonyi. The psychology of people in Fonyi is completely different from the people of Basra, where the heat sometimes is 47 degrees centigrade. So you learn from Zulqarnain. For every community, you must establish a rule and principle how you're going to go about it in order to recruit. As my planet brother said in his speech, that this thing should not be localized. This organization is not only a local organization. It must be Gambianized, that is national. From there, regionalized, then to be a continental organization, and from there it becomes a universal organization. Because Fegami, as I see it, I see a vision. I see something that is greater than even the people who are today launching the amalgamation, the unification of these 2, very powerful organizations. Because combining the 2, you have increased your strength. That is why where there is unity, there is strength, but where there is divisiveness or disunity, there is weakness. And I must warn you that the Freemason is always looking for faults in our ranks. When the faults are there, and I beseech and I beg all the youthful organizations to make sure that those on the fringes, I beg you, come on board. Come on board, because this is not about personal interest. This is not about ideologies. It is in the Gambia that the youth are now, they are so much immersed in ideological battles. They have become proxy forces. They are fighting in the Gambian battleground for people who are completely absent and alien to the Gambian reality. So you must be very careful of them. This is the route which the Freemason always take to cause division, to cause disunity, and at the end of the day we become weak, disrupted, and we are classified by Allah's verse in Surah Al Imran, وَلَا تَكُونُوا مِنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ مِنَ الَّذِينَ فَرَّقُوا دِينَهُمْ وَكَانُوا شِيَعًا. So we must make sure that all of us stand under one umbrella and give hands to each other and form a very strong up in front and go about our business, that is propagating the word of Allah, that is rehabilitating mankind socially, and that is trying to build a very strong economic financial base. Because all that we are trying to do, look, Muslims would just give you an opinion that riba is haram, the banks in the Gambia are usurious banks. There is no doubt about that. But what is the substitute that you have built as a Muslim? What is the substitute? Islam is not that. Islam is not a single one way. It always gives you option. If you want to tell me it's haram, you have to build a substitute for me there. So Muslims, without finance and economy, whatever we are striving at, we will never arrive at it. So it is an advice, and I'm recommending that as an organization, make sure that you build a very solid, sustainable, powerful, strong economic base, so that you invest your energy, you invest your knowledge. All of you are knowledgeable people. Invest what you know and create money. Money is created, money is not donated, or money is not begged. If we want to live under donation, we will be begging to the end of time, and beggars will never become leaders. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sallam.
Speech of Sheikh Ahmad Jete, the guest speaker, who delivered a very powerful speech there to make sure that was the best in the evening. And from there, a bit of festivities will continue going on before the iftar itself.
Thank you so much. We've honestly landed, and we would like to release the Honorable Minister, inshallah. Barakallahu fikum.
Sure, that's fine. We would have loved to have you for iftar.
Yeah, in fact, the problem is now I have from now on till 11 o'clock.
That was the main speech for the conference, but I have just seen Duduja, who was former president of the event, Agami, Assembly of Gambia Muslim Youth, so I'm very happy to get him here. So let me have, Chief, you have witnessed the launching. How do you feel about it?
Thank you very much. I definitely feel very elated today. Since the inception of Agami in 2009, this is what we yearn for.
Hold on quickly. Maybe we have the closing speech, then we get back to the
month of Quran. And so we would like to seize this opportunity, inshallah, to remember a few ayats from the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, personally, I have been inspired by one of our sheikhs who has passed away. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant him Jannah. And that is Sheikh Bunjeng. So I have made it upon myself, inshallah. I indulge your prayers, inshallah, to help me become a good reciter like him. I, subhanallah, enjoy his recitation, and sometimes I try to recite like him. So I'm just going to try, inshallah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله الذي أنزل على عبده الكتاب ولم يجعل له عوجا قيما لينذر بأسا شديدا من لدنه ويبشر المؤمنين الذين يعملون الصالحات أن لهم أجرا حسنا ماكثين فيه أبدا وينذر الذين قالوا اتخذ الله ولدا ما لهم به من علم ولا لآبائهم كبرت كلمة تخرج من أفواههم إن يقولون إلا كذبا فلعلك باخع نفسك على آثارهم إن لم يؤمنوا بهذا الحديث أسفا إنا جعلنا ما على الأرض زينة لها لنبلوهم أيهم أحسن عملا وإنا لجاعلون ما عليها صعيدا جرزا أم حسبت أن أصحاب الكهف والرقيم كانوا من آياتنا عجبا إذ أوى الفتية إلى الكهف فقالوا ربنا آتنا من لدنك رحمة وهيئ لنا من أمرنا رشدا فضربنا على آذانهم في الكهف سنين عددا ثم بعثناهم لنعلم